Hey guys, welcome to my very first episode of my new gaming channel, Andy's Game Room. So I thought I'd use this first video to sort of tell you about myself and why I started collecting and how I built up this collection. So I grew up in New Zealand, I live in Brisbane, Australia, and back growing up I was a huge fan of the Mega Drive. Even when people were going out and buying PlayStation in the mid-90s, I was still banging away on the Mega Drive, probably because we grew up with not much money. We couldn't really afford a PlayStation at the time, but I loved it so much. And you know, my favourite games were like Earthworm Jim, Jungle Strike, Street Fighter 2, all those great games. And so basically, fast forward a few years, I'm living in Brisbane, Australia, and I went back to New Zealand in 2013. I was with my little brother and I was like, oh man, we should get out the old Mega Drive. And so we went into the shed and it was just covered in ants, and there was like a whole ant nest inside of the actual console itself, and the games were a bit banged up. I came back to Australia and I thought, I really want to get my sort of small collection back that I grew up with. So I went online and bought some games and bought a Mega Drive. My whole idea was to just get the games that I owned as a kid, and you know, that would be it. As I started collecting, my collection started growing. I had like 15 games and I was like, holy crap, like this is massive. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to continue building up this collection and, you know, just see how I go. And I had a couple really good scores. I went on like Gumtree, which is sort of like Craigslist over here, I guess. One of the big scores that I got was at this garage sale. And so what happened was, it was advertised on Gumtree, and I work weekends and the garage sale was for the weekend. So I emailed and I said, oh, can I come in on Friday, the day before, and have a look? Because she listed some Sega consoles and games. And she said, yeah, sure. I went over to her house. I walk in there and she's got 2 box consoles and a bunch of video games and other accessories laid out nicely on this table. I was like, holy shit, like this is amazing, man. Like the games, so T2 was one of the games, and this was the quality of them. They looked brand new, and there was the manual, like the cartridge, just everything was in perfect condition, and this was every single one of the games, and there was maybe 20 or 30 games. And the consoles, so there was the Megatech box, which it's scuffed a bit, but it's actually, from what she said, they never actually used this console. It was a backup console that they purchased back in the day. And then there was this Lion King box. I didn't realise at the time is extremely rare. And I asked, I said, how much are you selling them for? And she said, all the games $4 each. And the box console, she's selling this one because it's never been used for $15, and this one because it has been used for $10. And you know, I know how much just a console on its own is worth. It's like $50 or $60, and so I knew these were worth a lot more than that. And I'm just like, I'm freaking out at this point. I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, trying to put on my best poker face. So I'm standing there, I was like, yeah, like I would love to take all of it. And she's like, oh right, yeah, no worries. So I'm there and like we're sort of working out how much it costs. And she gets a knock on the door. And this guy, I think he was Greek, and he looked about 60 years old at least. And while I'm standing there just sort of like looking at all of it, thinking, holy crap, I was just so keen to get all these and get out of there. And these were for my collection, like I wasn't going to go off and sell them all and stuff. And so this guy's at the door and he's saying like he wants to see the Sega stuff. And she said that there's a guy here buying it all right now, and he's like, oh no, like what have you got? And she said, oh, some box consoles, some games. And he asked how much she's selling them for, and she's like, oh, $4 for the games and 10 and 15 for the consoles. And he starts freaking out and he's like, oh, what, like you could make so much money off of it. And I'm standing there, I'm like, shut up. And she's like, yeah, I know. And she actually said that they had looked up on eBay how much things were worth, and that she just wanted to get rid of it because it's been in this like cupboards for years, and she wasn't too concerned about how much they were worth. And he's still freaking out, and he's like, you could make so much, and she's just like, yeah, I just want them gone, like. And I'm like, oh, thank God, like, man, I'm just panicking. So she comes back in and I'm like boxing it all up and I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And I see the stack of magazines on there and they're all Sega magazines, like gaming ones. And I said, oh, how much are you selling those for? And she's like, oh, $10 for the lot. And it's like this pile. I'm like, oh, I may as well take those as well. And that actually led to me collecting magazines, and now I've got like a ton of magazines, gaming magazines now. I box it all up and I come home, while I'm driving home I have to pull over and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I scored all of this, and I'm so happy. And that sort of led on to hardcore collecting. Every day I'd have Gumtree open and eBay open, and anytime there was a listing I'd message them if there was an auction and say, can I buy it now? I was like bang onto it. Like my collection grew in a year. It grew so much. Like I had over 200 games, maybe even 300 video games within a year. I had boxes like Dreamcast, Sega Saturns, 3 Menaces, like all these things, and it just kept growing. The past 2 years the games and collecting has become so much more expensive, and I only collect for Sega. I'd love to collect for Nintendo, but even when I started collecting, Nintendo was quite expensive to collect for. Collecting has really slowed down. I might get 1 or 2 games every month now. And my collection of Mega Drive games is almost at 400 now. My main goal was to get around 400 Mega Drive games. 500 would be really cool. Anyway, what I want to use this channel for is to talk about some of my favourite games, talk about some of my favourite collecting stories, doing some unboxing of things like the Lion King box here, Menaces, and just show off the box art and all of that sort of stuff. Do my own game reviews on games that I already own. I also have an Instagram page that that I post on regularly, just showing off my collections. I'll put a link below. That's my plan for the channel. Yeah, so make sure to subscribe. I'll be trying to make a channel at least every 2 weeks, and if each video gets quite a few views, then I'll cut it down to, I'll start making a video every week.